Business and Development Summit. And it's a pleasure to have you here again for another day of riveting discussions, informative and hopefully educative sessions that will set you on the path for a career in sport business. Remember, we're here to network, we're here to take new direction of areas we want to play in. So we're certainly not here to just sit and listen and go back home and do the same thing. We're here to meet people. There's people here today that you would not ordinarily get to see. We've got Barrister Okeobi, Director of Legal from the Nigeria Football Federation in the front. We've got Mr. Mutiu Adekoju with the La Liga. We've got some really good people. We've got Mr. Joseph Chimpangwe on the call. He's from the Zambia Football Federation. We've got Chief Bukola Olakwade, who is the CEO of Nilayo. You've got some really influential people here today. So the challenge is on again. You need to network with at least 5 people, 5, no less than 5 people, to really make this event worth your while. And my name is Beverly Agbakoba Onyejanya, and I'm the head of Sports, Entertainment and Technology Legal Practice at Olisa Agbakoba Legal. So I welcome you today, and hopefully we'll have some very, very exciting deliberation. So let's have fun. The lady doing the food will be soon. Apologies for the delay. James is here. I've not put you on the spot, don't worry. So we can actually kick off the first panel session. So let me invite our amiable, wonderful moderator, Femi Adefeso, who is a big player in the basketball industry in Nigeria. So he's going to be moderating all the sessions today. I know he'll do a really good job. I trust you. So do you want to come and welcome your panelists? So the first panel is the future of sports marketing, the future of sports media and marketing. Welcome. Thank you.
Please, let's put our hands together for Beverly. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today. Even though I wasn't here yesterday, I heard there was a lot of information that was passed across. Since all our panelists are here, I think we'll just go straight into the first session, like she said, which is the future of sports, media, marketing, and sponsorship. I would start by bringing forward, okay, let me have my seat first. So I'll start by bringing forward a very known face for those who have followed Nigerian football for a very long time. But there are a lot of Gen Zs these days, so it's difficult to say very known face. But for the older folks, I'm sure they know him very well. He played in the middle of the park for the Nigerian national team, Mr. Mutiu Adekoju. He was an attacking midfielder, and he played predominantly in the Spanish La Liga, totaling a total of 175 games and 22 goals in the course of 7 seasons, mainly with Racing Santander and Real Sociedad. Today he is an ambassador of the Spanish La Liga, and he helps them with their programs on the continent and in Nigeria. Please let's put our hands together for Mr. Mutiu Adekoju. So the second person on the panel, yes sir. The second person on the panel is Mr. James Tovene. He is currently the director of sports media at Paul Sports, and is responsible for building what they say is the #1 sports media brand in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and Uganda. Paul Sports, for those who don't know, is a Pan-African initiative by Paul's Media Group to bring sports news from an African angle to the mass audience. With over 9 years of professional experience, including 4 years in financial services in the UK and in Jersey, in banking, private equity, and real estate, and 6 years as a consultant and a project manager across various sectors in West and East Africa, in technology, international development, impact investments, and recently sports media. Please let's put our hands together for Mr. James Turnbull. see is fully dressed in African attire. He's gone around the continent a lot, and we're happy to have him in Nigeria to help grow Paul Sport. The last person on the panel is joining us virtually is Chief Bukola Olakpade, the MD CEO of Nilayo Sports Management Limited. He is a public figure who has made a name for himself in both the public and private sectors, and he's known for his passion for helping underprivileged young people to achieve their full potential. Bukola has a background in English, law, and sports management, and with Nilayo Sports Management Limited, he has revolutionized sports administration and marketing in Nigeria and Africa. He has also served as a special advisor and commissioner for youth and sports in Ogun State, Nigeria, and has led the states to new heights in sports performance. Bukola Olakpade is the chairman of Stormers Sports Club and excels in various fields, including business, philanthropy, capacity building, marketing, administration, politicking, and sports. Please let's put our hands together for him. He's joining us virtually.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Good to have you join us, sir. So I would start with the current context of how sports runs. We have one microphone here. You can pick the mic. So I'll start with Chief Olakpade. We know COVID has disrupted how sports is being run, or life generally, not just sports. And marketing, sports media is one big place that has felt the impact. So what do we see as, the immediate reaction in terms of how sports marketing and sponsorship is going? What's the direction based off, the impact of COVID-19? I know, for example, how during COVID, the Lagos State Access Marathon, which your team was able to put together, had to evolve very quickly to ensure that, you got some audience participation and stakeholders involvement. Long term, how do you see this going forward in terms of how COVID has impacted sports marketing and sponsorship?
Thank you very much, Femi. It's nice to see you again, looking dapper, unlike before you'd have been in your tracksuits. I believe COVID impacted negatively on every industry, but somewhere along the line created a positive approach for literally every industry again. So to answer your question briefly, yes, every industry took a hit. But let me congratulate every one of us, especially in Nigeria, because of the attitude of the Honorable Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare, who in turn has not allowed the COVID scourge to reduce capacity for sports to be a thriving business. The introduction of sports business through the legislature and the executive assent of the Mr. President has really gone far in preparing us for the next 10 years, as you have asked, for sports business. Sports business will definitely evolve with this new policy as long as we all take the pain to study the policies, use those policies, and attach it to what sports business should be. So we are moving forward. We are making headway. For us at Nilayo, we never allowed the COVID situation to affect us. We went straight into esports, where everybody could do business of sport from home. Even during the lockdown, we quickly recreated an ingenious way of reaching sportsmen and women, and also reaching the sponsors. That to give them visibility, but we go to them to create an enabling environment for them to also thrive in business. So in answering your question, I believe the next 10 years in Nigerian sports marketing is very promising. And I'm very glad to see so many young stars beginning to go into sports management, even going as far as studying in our various universities all over the world. I think the future of sports business is very bright in Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much for that brilliant response. I don't know if James wants to say something about that. Okay, you're good. All right, you look at the impact of COVID, and very quickly you want to think about digitalization and how everybody now seems to, embrace doing things online. Right now, we're having this conference, and it's hybrid. Some people are joining us from different places in the world, and that also has impacted in how sports is being consumed. Okay.
Hello. So, just from a business point of view, I think something that's quite interesting that happened over COVID in sports globally. So, we talk a lot about digitalization and say it sped up this, and I guess it kind of did. But I don't feel like there's been, it really actually changed. Like a lot of things just went back to normal afterwards. People went back to stadiums, etc. But it did, and it changed the revenue model for a lot of clubs. So a lot of clubs, basically, because they lost their match day income, really kind of struggled during that period, especially the European clubs. So what it enabled was a lot of like private equity players, a lot of like global investors to come in, and you look at clubs like AC Milan, Inter Milan. So it put a lot of financial like smart money into the game, which I think has changed it a lot globally. So this isn't really a marketing thing per se, but more like a business thing. And what we've seen now is like the financialization of a lot of football. I think that distressful period of COVID was a time where it allowed a lot of mainly private equity funds to come into sports, and I think that has changed it a lot as well, because now you see things like the Super League, which is kind of on hiatus but will come back and will probably happen. I think that for me is the biggest impact of COVID globally.
Right.
Well, at least in football.
Right. You spoke about revenue models, and I think that's a very critical part, because we are talking about sponsorship and marketing. You see how, sports now is being consumed. Now we're talking about streaming, we're talking about esports, augmented reality. So for you, James, with what you guys are doing at Pulse, it's not traditional media per se. You're trying to bring everything online to be able to meet, the demands of the audience virtually. How much of work is that, in terms of trying to meet the satisfaction of the audience that have seemingly moved from traditional consumption of media to, going online, because it will also affect how you reach out to them. So what are the strategies, like your organization is trying to put in place to ensure that this online audience, are getting the kind of content, that they would readily get on traditional media?
I think there's quite a few different questions there, so just add a couple of thoughts. So first thing is, like, strategically, obviously we're focused on digital, like Pulse, and Ringier, our parent company, is specifically focused on digital, but that doesn't mean there's not opportunities in traditional. And especially in Nigeria, I think it would be a mistake to just kind of write that off and say everything's going digital. If anything, I think we probably haven't invested enough, and I would like us to go more into that traditional space. When you look at, like, have invested in TV, radio, activations, like all of that physical space, I think it's very easy to say, oh, everything's going online, everything's going digital, but across Africa, especially in Nigeria, there's still a huge amount of potential in those traditional markets, because they give you a reach that I think we're not going to get with a purely digital strategy. They kind of give you a trust. If you see something physical, if you see something on the TV, a brand, you're going to trust it in the same, in a different way to if you just see it online. And this is, why I say, for example, like Bet Niger has such a dominant market share compared to a lot of the digital-only sports betting players, because they do have a lot of that traditional Mark. So I know that's not exactly answering your question, but I think it's an important.
Right. I mean, you did justice to it. There's still more to it, which I would still get to. I would like to ask Muchio, from a player standpoint or an athlete standpoint. Now we've seen a sudden growth in the influence of players due to digitalization, and the revenue streams for them as well, has increased, and now we have player power, but also it has impacted on how some of these leagues run. I know, for example, what La Liga is trying to do in growing. So you have players having a large market share, and they are the ones being used as influencers. I'll pedal back a little bit. When you had the Ronaldo Messi thing, as a strategy for the La Liga, and now everybody's asking, okay, there's no Ronaldo, there's no Messi in La Liga. How will they then, sell the league? I know you have, some information as to the kind of strategy they're using in trying to market the league. But what really is in the forefront for the Spanish Liga in terms of how they are trying to, push the marketing of the league to compete with the other leagues on the continent?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. That's very, very good question and all that. I think La Liga, without Messi and Ronaldo, La Liga is still as strong as ever. Since 2013, that the President Tebas came into the presidency of La Liga, he has changed a lot of things, and so many things is happening. For example, I will give you a data. For example, at the end of last season, La Liga had over 155 million followers on 17 different social media platforms. La Liga posts content in 20 languages across the 17 platforms. This number grew from 3.9 million in 2019. Imagine 155 million. So you will see that the league is growing, and they are really doing a whole lot of job. And Messi is no more, and Ronaldo is no more, and La Liga is still as strong as ever, and having the social media share and everything, and the income and everything is growing. So La Liga is as strong as ever. So talking about the digitalization and all that, and then the players are very strong, are stronger now compared to when we were playing. For example, we didn't have the opportunities of the players are having now, and it's because of all this digitalization, and they have more power than when we were playing. For example, let me give another example. When we were playing, before you could get news about the matches and all that from Spain, maybe it would be like 1 week. But now, immediately on social media and all online, digital and all that, you get the result and everything immediately. And we have the TV and all that. So I think media, sports media, and marketing and everything is growing, and it's very positive for sports and in the world.
Thank you very much for that response. I'll go to Chief Bukola now. You mentioned esports, and that quickly caught my attention. And there's a sudden rise in esports and gaming, and there seems to be a large younger audience, in sports. So the question is, what marketing strategies would you say are the best in capturing this young audience to get them, as part of what you call the numbers, to ensure you are able to get sponsors, what they really need in terms of the reach, with esports becoming a trend now?
Thank you, Femi. Before I answer that question, I would really like us to refocus our attention to what this conference is really truly about. I believe strongly that even the theme grass to global signifies a situation where you want to create knowledge for young, enterprising sports business men and women. And therefore, I believe the peculiarity of what COVID or what sponsorship and media should be for Nigerians, taking it out to the global world is what we should focus on. I like the idea of us talking about these world class football teams and everything of that nature, but it is very significant, and that was why I was interested in joining this webinar. It is very important for us to situate where we are today in terms of sports marketing alongside media and how we can enhance the growth of media interwoven with sports marketing and sponsorship. If we can concentrate more on that, a lot of people will gain from this webinar. But to answer your question, I did say when COVID came, every industry took a serious hit. But luckily for us, I mean, at Nila, we have a lot of young, brainy people who are engineers. So they quickly recreated and organized a system where we go into esports. And we're able to empower a lot of people. Your question is about the targeted audience and esports. It is organic. It is organic. Thousands of young people, millions are playing esports. Unfortunately, I do not think we've been able to convince the private sector in Nigeria to support esports, and I'll tell you why. The gentleman, sorry, I forgot his name, sitting next to Mutia Rikoji, actually spoke towards that. What has happened is that we are focusing a lot on digital media to support sponsorship and sports marketing. In as much as that is the way to go, and looking at 10 years down the road to create sustainability, the truth of the matter is that sponsors still want physical, old traditional activation. And that is why you see that they'll put money in a marathon, in basketball, in hockey, in football, than esports. But the money involved in esports that can empower thousands and millions of young Nigerians is more than whatever empowerment you want to create with other sports. But sponsors are looking at value. What value are you bringing to me that is physical, that is palpable, that people can touch? And if you are not able to create that, and you feel it's through digital marketing, that may affect you as a sports entrepreneur. So my advice has always been create activations through the old media. Be a friend to the new media and digital marketing. But look at the peculiarities that is Nigerian. Because you can only get millions of naira and dollars from the sponsors only when you play the Nigerian game to them. When you play the European game, you're not getting any money for sponsorship and your business will suffer. For esports, it is a future, but we need to do a lot more work to create strategies to bring sponsors to the table to support esports. I'm very proud to say today that one of the biggest players in the esports industry is Mizanula Bello, who went to FIFA course and got the best result in the whole world and was honored by FIFA. She's putting together a world-class esports competition right now, but she's struggling with sponsorship. Mila is helping to look for sponsorship. She's struggling, and again, it is because I don't think the sponsors are ready to support more digital space than the old media and physical activation.
All right, thank you. James, what strategies do you think can be employed within the context of Africa, Nigeria? I mean, you've traversed the continent to engage the youthful population we have on the continent with the growing numbers that esports is gradually generating.
With esports specifically?
Yes, esports specifically.
I mean, honestly, I'm probably not the best person to to ask about this because I don't feel it's something that we've cracked. Yet, I think in terms of strategies for esports,
Okay, let me try and help. I know usually when we think esports, our mind goes straight to gaming, right? The EPL Fantasy League is esports, right? Trying to create a fantasy team, and it cuts across various sports. So that's a simple, basic esports, and you model, and you look at how the English Premier League have been able to infuse that to, a strategy of bringing young folks to still be a part of the fan base. And week in, week out, people are watching games because they want to create teams and win points. So that's just one strategy that I have seen. And I'm wondering why, we are not really looking at, such opportunities, because we are talking about numbers, we're talking about advertisement, and I feel like those opportunities are there, but I don't know, because you play in a closer look with the media, if other opportunities lie within.
I don't think it's a case